All right, so this black mare that we've got on this video, Cliff Schadt and I started her over in Maryland this past weekend, and she was pretty tough, but we had a good time, got a lot done. But on this first night, it got late on us before we got to her, and had to go to the indoor to do things, and something went haywire with our audio, and so we just don't really have it. And I wouldn't dare try to overdub what was going on, because it was between things Cliff had to say and things I had to say, there was some pretty golden stuff there, and so it would be unfair to try to overdub it. So the audio we do have is what the camera picks up directly. Most of it's there, most of it's pretty good. You got some background noise, but just bear with us, it's something worth watching. And then the two videos that follow it, our audio is good, so at least you guys will be able to see where we started. Thanks.
So what I've done is taken the mic away from her.
Can I sit food on the bar?
A lot of folks call this humble
No, that's okay.
because it darn sure does make them humble. And we're just putting her at a disadvantage, which is athletic as she is, she's probably very rare to have been at a disadvantage.
He still has the advantage, a little bit.
Cliff wool her around.
Molly submission.
But see, you can do that again if she's pretty smart, which I bet she is. She'll figure out that kicking with that leg tied up. See? She still hates it, but she's not going to kick very hard. You're allowed to hate it.
So, a lot of people say, oh, you're patting that horse in so many. I'm patting her because I want her to think about my hand and where it is and what I'm doing. It's a way of kind of checking in and getting her thoughts on me. Maybe when I'm not leaving. She's really sensitive about her girth area. So Samara was in a bit of a wreck. They'd saddled her several times, and then something happened with the saddle. I think got under the belly maybe. Doesn't really matter, but she had a wreck with the saddle. And so like we talked about earlier about tight cinches and about it's a sin to get one under the belly. This is the result of that, because they said she was doing good. And here I'm not trying to, again, like Brett said, I don't want to take advantage of her. She's got one leg taken away. I'm not trying to force things or be mean to her or be rude to her. I just want to get her better about things that I know she can handle.
And we're making it a lot safer for you. She's not gonna kick you or force you. They can, but they don't very much. And when she does try to be ill like that, that just makes life harder for her.
She can get pretty good. She kind of gives that away.
Cliff and I are kind of in the same boat on this. We're looking for tolerance at this stage. Acceptance is a whole different story. We're just looking for tolerance.
So I'm just kind of mauling her. There's not a giant tactic here. So if I can get in there and not get a reaction, I'm just going to slide out of there. That's the first time I grabbed her cinch area and didn't get a reaction there. I would suspect this mare might have some hormonal issues. She kind of acts like it. But it doesn't matter. She's still got to go through all of this. It's not an excuse. There, I got a point there.
But she's letting you pull it off though.
Yep.
She's about to bite
She
you.
don't love it, but she's accepting it. So sometimes with a leg up, the more you kind of make them move their feet, the more they realize the good deal they're getting when you ask them to stand still and tolerate something. That's
You
better.
only have to nip your blanket that time.
Yeah. It's an odd angle to do that.
Yeah.
That's better. That's a lot better. But see there, if we didn't take that little bit, she'd just keep fighting, probably hurting us, hurting my horse,
Hurt herself.
tear up you guys sitting in the bleachers, because this, when she gets free, there's no stopping. So sometimes it's necessary to equal up the playing field a little bit, get them to where they're just a little more tolerant. So you notice here, compared to where I was with my flag earlier, here I want to use that flag almost like it's just an extension of my hand, almost like a grooming tool. I can kind of rub all over with it, just like I'm grooming on her, as opposed to driving her. I don't want to drive her right now. I'm just checking out where the spots are, like that flank there. If she can just stop laying on me, quit swishing here, there, then I'll let go. I won't take it away while she's complaining. That's a better answer. She actually stepped over when I touched her that time. So I'll come over her hip again, get in that flank, and not much of a reaction. It's a way better spot. Just like Brett did earlier, I might want to just jump my lead rope kind of down her body here. There. Not that I'm going to pull her around or anything, but I just want her to kind of feel that. Like here, come back with that flag. And I'm not going to be mean or aggressive, but I'm also not going to hide the flag. I'm kind of just come in there kind of hot and busy, but casual. She may get surprised the first time, but the second, third time she'll be like, well, that's just how you handle the flag. But if you always tiptoe with the flag, they're always, the second you move quicker, they're going to react. So I find that if I can kind of go like this, one of the things that I talk about a lot, and I think Brett would agree with me, is that we don't desensitize horses. We teach horses to learn the difference between directional pressure versus non-directional pressure. So this here, this is non-directional. Nothing about my body language or anything says move your feet or go anywhere. There's no pressure for her to move. This is just pressure and movement. Whereas if I came over here and I said, hey, you better move your feet here, and I get movement from her, that's directional. It's just like if I go like this with my legs, it means nothing. But if I just lightly close my legs and sit up, my aids support my movement there. So that's directional versus non-directional. Non-directional pressure is just teaching these horses to tolerate noise or static. I think that feels a lot better. Brett, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I like what you did there, and I'm going to do a little stuff while that leg's still jacked up. One of the reasons I wanted Cliff to, one, because I want to see what he do. I'm always learning too. We're all trying to learn from each other all the time. Two, because of the situation we're in, I want him to have this horse, his help horse. But I do want to do a couple of things with her here. And you see, I'm trying to lead her around. And she says, well, I can't lead you, dude. I got 3 legs tied up, or 1 leg tied up. You moron. But I was just trying to get a little more room here. What I'm trying to do is just get around her here a little bit. And I'm going this direction first because this is harder for her to move away from. It's harder for her because if she wants to move away, she moves those hips around until this front leg can only rotate so far, and then she's got off. she looks away.
And the big trick is with all this is never asking for more than they can give.
And whenever I'm doing this, if she wants to lay down, I'm going to let her. Please don't bounce on me. But if she wants to lay down, I'm going to let her go ahead and do that. And kind of like just monkey around here for a second to see if she does. That's okay with the special bird.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I kind of want to monkey around here for a second and see if she does lay down. And she just says, you know what, the amount of pressure you guys have put on me, I'm just going to check out. This is not one looking at both lay down on a horse, bang, put her lay down on a horse anywhere in time. But she's not one that I think would benefit from us manually doing anything. I think we make her mad. I think we create more problems than we start with. But if she wants to go around here, I'm giving her the option, like you said, we're giving her a good deal to stand still. If she wants to just keep moving her feet, I'm going to let her. She's too much to lay down. I'm going to let her.
And I sometimes think it's bigger medicine when they choose to lay down.
Yeah.
When we just make, it's kind of like what I said earlier about we spend so much time trying to force a horse to be where we want them rather than just showing them where we don't want them. So if we just keep moving her feet around and she chooses in all of that to finally just lay down, there's bigger medicine there because she made the voluntary decision to surrender. We didn't just knock her over.
Knocking over is a lot easier.
Yeah, it's quick, easy.
And there's times some of them need that.
Yep.
She's really fast in the morning, she doesn't need that. But all I'm trying to do is come over here and stand next to her. And that's a little bit part of it, is that she's stretched out, she's like being in the corner. We're going to use that to our advantage, but it's going to go over there.
Get out of the way.
Oh, sister. Any particular reason this is real quick? Huh?
I gave her a bath. Oh, okay. Matt, why don't you try this?
What I was fixing to say is it's fine doing this sometimes, because they can get pretty frustrated with it. And they figure out that, man, no matter what I try, I'm losing. Once in a while, one that's never tried to make that before will make that. Like Cliff was talking about, the difference between directional movement and non-directional movement. I'm not driving her away, I'm not trying to get her to go anywhere. I'm trying to get her to just let me just stand over here where I want to stand. In fact, it's hard for her, that's none of my business.
So to give everybody here a little bit of background on this mare, before anyone makes the assumption that we just jumped in and took her leg away and this is what we're doing. I had this mare at a 3-day colt starting earlier this week. Ashley and I worked her, and I wouldn't hesitate to say that she was dangerous. She's a lot better now than she was the first day she came in. Any kind of pressure and she would mow you down. I mean, punch you on the end of the lead road. She just learned that if she ran over the top of you, you couldn't put pressure on her anymore. And she has a real phobia about the saddle because they got her wrapped at the saddle. I think it may have slipped on her belly or scared her somehow. It doesn't really matter. But it scared her. And she'd been saddled several times. It was okay until that moment. And this mare is super smart. She's actually really, really talented. She's an athlete. She's smart. She's a nice mare. Just trouble. You guys see Brett here. When he got her to stop, he put his back to her. And that's the best way to take off all the pressure. Just understand that when her eyes are on them, there's pressure. When her back is to them, there's no pressure. So where he drops his head and kind of takes on a more humble pose there, and tries to give her the opportunity to stop. We're not going to force her to stop, but we're going to offer it to her. So he keeps dropping his pressure and trying to really give her every reason to get still. Really hard to go on in training for a horse that can't find neutral.
How old is she, Philip?
3. Very, very well bred. Very nice mare. But here, all Brent is doing is he is creating low stress work for this mare. He's not chasing her. He's not beating on her. He's not doing. He's just making her hop around. He's working harder than she is, just walking a bigger circle. But he's just waiting for her to decide there.
She's putting the pressure on herself.
Nope. Then he'll walk again. But that little moment might mean something to her.
Now she's really moving me work, because she's figured out the tricks here. So she's trying to go forward. I don't care. It's hard to work.
Benny Catrone was a big fan of these single foot hobble, and he used to get a lot of tough stud horses to work. This comes from one of my best friends in the world, Katie Jo Zudema. Her dad, Wayne Davis, was one of Benny's best friends, and Wayne was telling me that he'd take a group of really ranked stud colts and he'd single foot all of them and just turn them out in the arena while they rode it. They couldn't do much because they couldn't catch up to him. They couldn't really do much to anybody. And he said that when they would finally stop and put their face flat on the ground to take the place of their foot, they were ready to learn something. And I did that. We had a really bad totalist stud. He was a 4-year-old. He was an orangutan and stuff. I did that with him a few days in a row. Just waited until he put his head flat down on the ground to support himself because he was getting tired. And it was a game changer. It had a bigger effect than laying that horse down. Because he, alone, by himself in the arena, he had to find the place to kind of support himself and leave himself there. When he found that, and I let him free each time, he decided to head down to Humboldt was a way better way to go.
Right quick in my face there going around her, it's just because we're next to this wall. That's super dangerous for me. You go between her and that wall. And that's the only reason I'm changing what I'm doing here, to go over by that wall.
What's interesting is a lot of colts in a stressful situation, they'll try to leave you, but you notice she kind of helps you on the line. She figures if she can get on top of you, you can't do whatever it is you're doing that's bothering her. I don't know that she thinks it out that clearly, but that's kind of what she's doing.
I want to take advantage of that.
Why not?
Masha, my phone was dead, so when you come back to the video, or you can give me your phone.
Yeah.
You?
You want to just use your remote so it doesn't die? My password is 2002.
The whole deal the coach was talking about how she just roll over the top of it. That's what she's trying to do here. Just go over the top of it.
She even tries to get her head over, as she hops, she tries to get her head over the top of Brett's, so she can kind of pull him into her chest there.
Yeah. And so Cliff spent several days working with her and got her to where she didn't want to run over the pony horse. Got her to where she was pretty good on the ground. But essentially what I've done is put her in a different stressful situation. And then God be able to handle stress. An option there. You won't lay down.
She does like to turn her hind end to anything she can.
You know, when they get to this state, they don't even know what they want anymore. You know, she wants to be free, but she doesn't know what to do. And that's part of it, is that you've got to take them so far out of everything they know, all the habits, all the patterns that they help manipulate their life and create. We've got to take them far beyond that in order for them to start kind of reckoning with their fear, reckoning with themselves, to make that decision that maybe I should let go here.
That was a big win there. She let me stand over there and pet her for 30 seconds or so. I'm just gonna pop that off. And that was kind of a, we'll find out, may or may not have been the right decision, because she was about to the point where she was just gonna give up and lay down. But the fact that she just let me stand here and pet on her a little bit, facing her, I decided I was gonna reward her for it. What I'm doing here is a little soft spot, right? Where the bone turns into cartilage, but there's a pressure point right there. I'm not pushing hard on it. I'm just putting a little pressure on it. Like that now. And by flexing her neck, I'm putting her in kind of what she feels like is a little bit of a vulnerable situation here, especially because her big deal is to shut an eye and run a shoulder over the top of it. You know, at this stage in the game, I know how she can move better than she can, so I know that this isn't vulnerable. A year from now, this is all part of the program. That flexing, 3 rides an hour, whatever, however much we get done. But she thinks it's vulnerable.
And the other day, this mare was, I'm not saying she's not there now, it might come back again, but the first day, she was the type that she'd probably kill herself to get out of the situation, probably without hesitation.
As soon as she gives that, I take that pressure off of that thing. If she's wanting to keep her dead there, I'm not wanting her dead there. As long as she wants to keep it there, I'll let her.
When he had her flexed, can any of you guys see how hard she was breathing when he had her flexed around there? That's just emotion. Like she's giving something she hasn't given, so she's breathing. Watch her flanks. The further she comes, the harder she starts. See that speed up in her flank there? The further her head gets around, it has nothing to do with her airflow. She can breathe just fine. But the further around she gets, the more she's getting into panic mode, and she's saying, I don't think I can, I don't think I can, I don't think, and it just builds there. So the trick is to get her to the threshold and let her come back before she sells out, and then next time bring that threshold a little further, and we're just starting to expand kind of that property where she's kind of blocked off and shut down. We're trying to help her get to a better place where she doesn't have to feel that way.
That last little bit there, she gave a hold with me and put her nose on me. I let off totally with that finger. I left my hand there. But as soon as she gave, I wanted to put her nose against my hip, I let off. I'm just, with this finger right here, I'm just touching. Thank you. Give me one more.
Something that I've learned is that flexion is not enough unless it's proper flexion. Right. And I spent a lot of years improperly flexing horses with the idea that if I could get them to soften properly, I'd fix it up later. And there's a little truth to that. They can be a little bit out of shape and you can fix it up. But to truly get them to let go and feel good about letting go, the flexion has to be correct, because if you watch her ears when Brett flexes her ears stay level, no matter which way he takes her ears stay pretty level. If you bend one and their ears are cocked to the side and out of level, what that does is it puts torque and it puts her spine in such a position where it's hard for her to move her feet and hard for her to leave. She's loaded up on kind of that outside shoulder. She's not in a position to feel very balanced or mobile. So that improper flexion will actually almost add to the fear and resentment, because now you're putting her in an awkward position that doesn't feel good for her.
Is that like
like the reiners, when they spin, sometimes they'll cheat and lead with their ears so they can
Yeah,
drop their
or they'll lead with their jaw, their lower jaw, they'll tip their head. Yep. So like when a reiner turns, you want to see them just kind of, it's only a few degrees, but they'll break and at the atlas there, and then like the first vertebrae, and they'll actually break at the throat latch there, and the ears will stay level, and the corner of their eye will go around the corner. That's proper. But a lot of them will get kind of tired of it, and they'll kind of cock their head the other way, and that will lead to them traveling behind, coke bottle turns, and everything else, because their spine is out of unison.
Or more so than getting tired of it, you'll see more of them that they got cheated. They got cheated and somebody put on some kind of a gimmick. And I use every gimmick there is out there. It'll help me, I'll use it. But something like a shambon or something like that, or like a 4-man shambon that you taught me to use, you get to using those things too early and force that flexion, then everything will go haywire. One thing I want to say about her, I'm just kind of testing the waters here with this 9 foot. I'm really confident that once Cliff's got a hold around that horse, I can stick my head down there and get my head kicked in. However, that doesn't help that stands all of that on. But I'm just kind of testing the waters, see if she's not going to fire at me. A lot of other horses, when they want to move around like this, I'll take and I'll grab them right here, and I'll grab hold of that hair and I'll roll it like this, and pinch that skin, and it's kind of a caveman's twitch, and just pinch that. I'm not going to do it with her because I'll do it with a horse that's just kind of being a jerk. That just I just don't do that. I don't want to do that. She's fragile.
She's almost too sensitive.
Yeah, she's fragile-minded enough that I'm not going to force anything. I think if you get a hold of her, I'll put them sidelines on her.
Got a similar brain to Dale, raptor baby.
What's that?
Got a similar brain
Yeah.
as Dale with raptor.
You can do the sidelines on Dale.
He loved, yeah, I have, he loved it.
Yeah, it's very.
What you were saying about Benny,
Yep.
I remember he they some of those stud colts that were pretty dang rank, and he put that on there, and if you leave it on long enough, their leg will fall asleep, kind of like they sit funny. And he said, if they're really bad, get it where that leg falls asleep and then step on them. So you got about 5 minutes.
Yep.
I've never done it.
We said he called him an elbow office.
No, I wasn't.
You better get him to see the cool cat. Oh man, he's hilarious.
Just run again down here. She's
That's okay, because I can kind of try to reroute some of her thoughts and distract her. You know, like here, I'm just petting her eye just enough. One, she's not looking back at Brett so much. And two, just by making her blink, it's making her think. It's like if you've got something in your eye, you forget about a lot of other inconveniences at that moment.
Well, I thought starting with cold earlier, I've got my arm against her like this. If she cow kicks me, she's probably still going to get me. But if she cow kicks me, she'll push me away. And hopefully I'm going to that. The trick with this is she's big enough that she's still going to get me. A little bit cold, they probably get to push away from where they actually go. She didn't move her foot at all, but I can watch her tail.
That's all right. She can go through the motions of what she thinks she needs to do, and it's not going to pan for her. It's really important not to fixate on the symptoms. We got to look at the cure, what needs to be the cure. So her kicking out, some people go, oh, she's kicking out, we better grab a hold of that and wrestle her until she quits kicking out. Well, once she goes through this, she's not going to want to kick out anymore, so why waste that time?
Yeah. Especially with one like her, we've only got a limited window of brain power. And we're running out of it. So she might kick through a walleye fit over this.
So she'll pick that foot up and set it back down like that. I just hit whoa there, because that was a good decision on her part.
Could have been.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thought.
I like that. I pilled on her there, and she just said, no, she's got me.
She's very calculated.
She's smart.
Like good or bad, she's very calculated. in her-
There, I'm going to tip her over her shoulder there, just get her to take a step.
And she's watching that with her ears. She's trying to figure out what's got her and why. But I would be willing to bet that if you'd done this with her the first day, it would have just been a kick and fight and falling down mess. Oh, she says, that touched me.
Yeah, she wants to push herself into me because she thinks if she can push me, I'll just go over here and say, hey, what about this?
Say perfect. Thank you for getting away from the stands.
We're trying to give her the best deal we can, but if she wants to be married, squeal like that.
I like that we had some shoulder movement and we got a little hip movement. So she's exploring what she can do, but she's being pretty smart about it.
Yeah. And I like the first time she stepped across there and it touched her other leg. It scared her when it was touching more than two legs. But she's deciding that she can live through this.
Yep.
Never had one step through with the hind leg, step around through it.
Mm-hmm. They'll kind of do a three-legged fart dance and
Get out of there.
yeah, they get out of it. But that's why I move them around before I ever get on them this way. I've had them do it when I was on them too.
Oh, you get on it.
Yep. I'm gonna get on her here in a minute.
I've only ever I've done sidelines and then gone on off the horse like not intact, but just getting on and off.
I've put a lot of first rides on the sideline.
I have to.
Yeah.
I've ridden them 3 legs too.
Yeah.
I'm not
I did a lot of that when I was at Jim West.
Yeah. A lot of the Jim West horses.
They were tough. Yeah. I mean, looking back maybe now, I'd like to start one now because I feel like I've got a whole different bag of tricks.
Yeah. Yeah, back then all you knew how to do
But,
was cock it
yeah.
and step on.
25, they were pretty tough.
Oh, I love that.
Yep.
How she stepped
Her
on it.
answer's been really good.
Uh-huh.
Like that.
She's thinking about this.
You know, she hasn't sold up and just planted her feet either. She's trying to get with me. And what I want her to explore all the possibilities so that we don't have a wreck later. I want her to step all over. I want her to be mindful of that. I want her to know it's there.
And this could be, for instance, our little sorrel filly that did the
Yep.
same thing too. Took her about 3 seconds to figure out the pattern. Okay, I got this figured out.
You're licking.
Yeah. Now this could be really the root of all our unconfidence with her.
Yeah.
In her. We're pretty confident. But she just doesn't know where her feet go. And that's I bet where a lot of this wanting to run you over stuff comes from and this just get away. She just never feels confident.
presentation to shorten up because I want to take care of Brett and take some slack out of that. But also, we've got to let her explore the possibility there. And if she goes, I'm going to catch her and I'm going to stop her. But also, I don't want her to think that she can't do things just because I'm limiting her. She's got to choose to stand there on her own volition.
And of course, I turned my back as soon as I got here, but I'd be willing to bet that real soft look she had in her eye disappeared as soon as I got up next to her.
It just got distant.
Yeah. 1,000-mile stare. And the thing that we're talking about here, it was just as you were saying that, what really interested me is that Cliff and I have done this together a whole bunch, but we've both done a whole bunch of this, and we didn't have, there was no pre-game talk or
We've
anything.
literally never done this together.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And we have, yeah, now that I think about it, I guess we haven't. I was thinking maybe we have, no, we haven't. And so the whole thing about not stepping his horse up there, if I'd have been on his horse, I'd made the exact same decision, hopefully. But this isn't something we discussed. You just got to do this a whole bunch and do it the hard way a whole bunch of times to get where you can.
It's kind of like I said yesterday, we rescue them and micromanage them every time we think something's going to happen or they can't handle something. They're going to come to be reliant on our intervention and our rescue, and they won't learn how to self-regulate themselves. She's learning how to, she did not know how to self-regulate before this. She's learning how to endure the fact that she doesn't like being touched a lot of places. I'll be honest, this mare reminds me of some autistic people that I've met, like severely autistic, that can't handle being touched, they can't handle different noises, different places, different sounds, and all of these things. And that was a block for her. Anytime anything changed, you could get along like Matt found today, he gave the bath, he did all the things, but it had to be on her timing and everything else. But if you dictated anything, change it, she just can't deal with it. But if she's going to make it in the world and not kill somebody, she's got to get there.
Back cinch?
I went across the board.
What's that?
I went across the board, all of it. They have cinch on that saddle.
What's that?
Just, let's put that cinch right there on that saddle because I took the old one off because Ricky's going to put the new one.
What?
One of the things I was noticing this week is Matt, when I was trying to be around over on that backside, she didn't want me there. She decided, I was under a lot of pressure on her thumb that leg up. And she didn't really like me very good.
Yeah.
So Matt's over there and she kept looking at him going,
He never put it.
You're in the
I like that guy.
Yep.
Why
I
can't
can
we
come back.
He was saying how she likes you because you haven't put her in a bad spot. You've gotten along with her. She lets you in places she won't let me or Brad.
Well, you don't pull a girl's hair on the first day.
That's like the second.
Third.
What I
Well, if that's the case, that's why there's sometimes not a second date.
Explains it.
It's like a
We're gonna edit that one.
You want the yellow one or this one?
That shorter one will be good.
been pretty stoked now.
Yep.
She's kind of, she's
If anybody's starving,
I'm hungry.
there's a bunch of food in there.
I'm so hungry I can eat a crotch up a low flying duck.
There's some roast beef sandwiches,
Yeah, I
the
think-
Bobby sandwich, which is turkey, stuffing, and cranberry. It's
Yeah.
really good. And then there's veggies and meat and cheese and cookies and sodas. And can I give you something?
no.
We got the meats.
We've just about got this saucer and bow here.
And we're the last one. Is this also?
Yep. Like Brad said, there's never a last one.
I mean, for today.
Oh my god, my storage
That's
is full.
What?
My storage is full.
Holy shit. It's all right.
Ashley's gonna fire me.
Somebody video something.
I got it.
Amy's got it.
He's got it.
Something really cool happens.
You have my number? I'll see you.
We just become best friends.
We already did.
We already did, yeah. How do you do this stuff? Keep up.
It's funny to see her start thinking again.
Yeah, she just came to life.
It's funny to see her start thinking again. You know, like she kind of grounded herself, she got to a quiet, relaxed place, and then for whatever reason, she just started thinking, well, maybe can I move my feet, can I do this? But she's not being bad about it, so there's no reason to block her.
And in a sense, we kind of missed our golden opportunity there, switching cinches.
Yep.
We had to, kind of missed the golden opportunity because she was just at total neutral.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I like better just because of who she is and what her baggage is.
Because that can be peaceful or it can be checked out.
Yeah. There's gonna
Hard to say.
And
the first day-
normally something I worry about. But it's with her because
She's enough.
she's fragile-minded, so it's, I do worry about ones like her.
So the first day that this mare, I threw a saddle, I mean, I had Ashley just holding her on a snub horse and I just put my saddle on her. And the second it hit her back, it landed on top of me. I mean, like
Whoa.
right now.
Wow.
Yeah. Up in the air, boom. Yeah, it sure did.
She's unique.
Got up a good saddle.
It's probably your Don Rich, wasn't it?
Analysis. I wouldn't put that on her.
I love that saddle.
This is a good saddle.
Now I'm.
Just by hand, pulling the cinch up. She ain't digging it. But we didn't lose.
Say
I almost pulled it out of your hands.
How many times have you saddled her?
What's that?
How many times has she been saddled?
I saddled her like 5 times in a row the other day without cinch, just putting it on, letting her stand there for a while and chill, just while Ashley held her. And then last day, me and Krista Harrow saddled her, and she cleared his rump, went over behind, about jerked me out of the saddle with the rope coming across my body.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I put the forearm bar on her face because she first hit me here, and I got my arm up, and she went back over his head.
Wow.
It was fun.
I bet.
So what Cliff was talking there, all I'm doing is snugging this cinch up, loosening it back up. Snugging it up, loosening it back up. And I'm watching her reaction. And I got my hand back, and she's feeling the tension. And she's doing this hand, moving all over that cinch, snugging up one more. So you're just easing over. Well, snug it up, back off. Snug it up, so not even. So it's the same thing, well, it's the same thing as what we're playing with that snug
He gets her right to the threshold of the alarm and backs off. And right to the threshold, backs off.
Because she is like, zero.
Reminded me of the really time I did that.
Talk about the film.
You slide a hand over her leg. She said, no, you slide that hand, you slide that hand.
Like I said, only a back does. That's a hair looser than I was going, but I went ahead and my neck was too tight.
It needs to stay where, because that would be the worst thing right now is if it slipped.
Yeah.
It'd be the worst thing that could happen really for her.
But I pulled it up. She knows it's there. So I'm gonna live with that now. I wouldn't ride her unhobbled, like that, no, because she can run foot through.
Yep. And she would. Ooh, she bit me.
That would have been elevation wrong there, I don't know. We don't have-
Elevation. Buddy, let me tell you.
That would have been.
I've seen a lot of them. This bitch can be bought. So it goes against sometimes your adrenaline and everything else when they have a little fit and then they find that spot to park. You kind of want to be guarded and on the muscle. But that's when you've got to really purpose yourself to soften kind of to her and say, hey, you're fine. You're fine. You're okay. Now I'm going to move her again.
And if this had been just a run-of-the-mill colt without some emotional damage, we've done different. It would have been, you want bud, you can move your feet.
See her wanting to bite my pony. She's blaming anything and everything for her plight right now.
Look that.
Don't bite.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So like there, she had her storm. I was in her left eye. So I come over here to her right eye and rub on her, just to kind of even things out a little bit. I don't know if it works or not, but I do it. I mean,
I'm laughing because there's so many things that I do that I don't know if that
I have no idea, but I do it. I think it works because I'm alive.
I think so too. Take close, but I open a fan close.
But
Be there if I open a fan close.
yeah.
There's just trying to think the way through it now. So this big drone not only is not done any good, it didn't like the way it felt.
I want to step over, and then maybe come forward a little bit.
Yeah. There she's learning the pattern of those feet.
We'll do that again, and because horses learn from patterns, I'll do that again. Step over, step over, step over. Come with me.
She was planning on coming with you.
Yeah.
Aw.
One of the big things I don't want to do is let her back up like this a whole lot. I don't want her to think that that's an answer right now.
Do you just have a back stitch on the looser side because you think...
Just because she's troubled.
Okay.
She's super touchy.
I made sure, when I saddled her, I made sure to bump her with it several times so she knew it was there.
Mm-hmm.
Once she has her feet back, we would tighten it up.
Yeah.
Got it.
But right now, we give her the benefit of the doubt. Big change in her expression, her body language.
I like that. Stepped on her deal, made a plan.
I'm going to reach in her mouth here, tickle her tongue, and get her to lick and chew a little bit. She's kind of clamped on her jaw. She's just still a little bit mad, still a little bit upset. So anytime I can get a little movement, pat her face. Oh, she's a pretty girl.
Walk next to her.
That whole deal with Rob right there is, she got confident about what she's doing, she got a little relaxed, lift that on her a little bit, she got a happy place in her mind, and then she stepped off again, and, oh, this thing's still on me, and that was her first reaction. Right before that, I squatted over here, looking at her, thinking, it looks like it's about time for me to start putting some weight in the front, and yes, sir, I want to see her get real relaxed, and then we'll turn the key up a little more to make sure, because, see, Mosh, that's what happens. You missed it. You weren't even looking.
That was great.
She put her foot over her back foot over the
Oh, I
sideline.
missed it.
She just sorted it out.
Do it again.
You just sort of,
Probably won't now because she knows that's the thing.
Mark.
You gotta try.
got mad.
I want to see her get relaxed and kind of turn it around a little bit.
I thought you guys noticed that hanging up on her jaw there? See, that might come in handy later. If I get it in her head, that running her head is around the butt. She runs into my hand just like she runs into my saddle horn if she tries to leave. I can start to put those thoughts in her head, and maybe later I can bump up and she tries to get me.
As soon as she gets mad, she starts aiming up.
If you want to do like that, I might hustle her feet a little bit for a minute and just say, here, if you have that much energy to do that, maybe we should move out a little bit quicker for a moment. I don't want to be rude, I don't want to torture her, but I do want to make those bad decisions count for something. So, here, what we're going to do is kind of help Brett out a little bit. So I come over here, lock that saddle, move my other stirrup. Put my foot in that stirrup. On my back cinch, move that saddle around.
Okay. She ready? Yeah. She looked at me like she was just about ready. I went and grabbed the lead rope, and because what I'm going to do is I'm going to step on and off and just try to make everything groovy. And if everything is groovy as I think it's going to be, I'm going to step on her and have Cliff just take me around here, maybe one little lap, maybe one each way. That's being pretty risky if we do one each way. But because she does want to kind of jump around and everything like that, I just want something in this hand, and I'm just going to put it around her neck and hold on to it. It's not going to prevent anything from happening at all, but I will feel better about it.
More stability.
Yeah, and there's also the muscle memory.
The mind.
You know, it's a mind game. I've ridden a billion of them with something in my hand, so I feel like I want something in my
I'm the
hand.
same way.
Dan, I'm going to let you have a hold that for a second.
Can I have your phone?
My phone is dead. It's on the wall.
Oh, mine.
Dan? Dan, is your phone dead? Can I be your camera lady? Oh my god, it's so cute.
I'm going to take all the pressure off. Stepped up.
Yeah, you want to root yourself after you step up there. I want to get her feet right here. Get your balance.
And I don't think that was
No,
I'll just hop as much as a stumble.
For this mare, we've kind of seen that when she gets into enough of a bind,
That took more than it should have.
Yeah, she's just laying on me. But I'm not gonna back off there and then, you know, make it pretty again. I'm gonna kick until she gets off of me.
What you were saying about when she gets enough to combine.
She gets enough to bind, she kind of checks out and shuts down a little bit. So we want to make sure we keep reminding her that she has feet and she can move them.
That's a big deal. The first 2 times, as soon as I stepped off, I stepped completely away. That time I stayed with her a second. She's starting to figure this whole program out. This part, I started with that. Same deal.
When he stepped up there, you guys might have seen me shaking that halter a little. Sometimes just a little vibration there. It's just enough to get those horses to kind of shake a little bit.
Also, you might have seen, just as I stepped up there, she just switched her tail, not her back, but just a little bit of a switch. That just showed me that there's, there's something going on. At least the brain's on here.
I'm going to take it forward.
Mind, watch me when I'm doing this. I'm still always looking out for me because she can't blow up buttons, proving that to her. But she can still kind of lead me down around. If I won't balance or anything like that, I can end up underneath. Find that other stirrup.
You ever ride in the Bronx off an end road? I hated it.
Next Saturday, those guys took the power away.
Next thing I kept telling those guys, no, it actually sucks, man.
Make sure she sees me out of that eye. Whichever direction she's going around better.
I'll wait for her when she takes that step. There's bad, so much torque, 3 foot of us picking up on the back, a lot of torque, a lot of different feel. So I want to let her take a step at a time here for a minute.
That was pretty long, maybe step there. I would run for the man all the time. None of the yelling.
Just for his own balance and feel good.
Yeah, it's more than my confidence in anything. A little bit of balance. We need to
Just
find
another point of contact.
we need to find a spot. And so when I say it, if we need to find a spot, we'll take a second here. say I think we need to find a spot. It's not because I'm feeling that she's getting tight. It's not because I'm getting nervous or anything. It's because we've done a bunch today. And we ended this in a really good place for her. And I want to think, oh, never got to look at you on her. That's the first time she volunteered. We never got her in a bad place here. And so let's quit while we're ahead. Yes, let's quit before it does happen. I'll get ready. It actually goes on the altar, but it's also that light altar. You know, these first time I saw these signs, kid in Texas was starting with some of the really nice gutters. Yeah. And put them on there. And I thought, why, world, what nice little old homes. There's no way I'll ever do that. And then one day I was like, oh, I think I'm going to try that. And I'm like, whoa, I can do this the rest of my life now. All of a sudden changes your mind about how she feels about the other side. Now watch when she leaves off, she's going to probably lead off. She's still got these on and take steps to convince her she's got it. Feet free.
Almost like putting light boots on.
Yeah, the back.
Shake your head on the front, they act like they're sorcerers.
Thank you so much to the Patreon crew. You guys are the reason we're able to do this and do the extra things and really do all the YouTube videos too. We wouldn't be able to make it work without you guys. So thank you so much. And any of the rest of you can jump on and watch any of these extra kind of things that we do on Patreon and see what's going on there. So check that out if you can.